Welcome back, everyone. 14 after the hour, and time for us to go behind the headlines, where the Wall Street Journal has this incredible report entitled Doctors Cash In on Drug Tests for Seniors and Medicare Pays the Bill. And it tells this terrible fraud that's going on to us U.S. taxpayers in the Medicare system, where doctors, pain specialists largely, are ordering costly advanced drug tests for hard drugs such as heroin, cocaine, and angel dust to the seniors that they are treating. It's an amazing story here, and the way that this works, first of all, some statistics for you. Medicare's spending on 22 different high-tech tests for hard drugs hit $445 million in 2012. $445 million of taxpayer money spent for hard drug tests for senior citizens. That's up 1,423% in the past 5 years. The program spent $14 million on drug tests for PCP alone. And according to the Wall Street Journal story, Sue Brown, a laboratory director in Brunswick, Georgia, said she has never seen someone over the age of 65 test positive for angel dust in 25 years. Well, not surprising. Hell, man, I'm a professional in marijuana reform. I couldn't tell you where to find angel dust. For God's sake, where's a 65-year-old man gonna find it? But they did a profile of one particular doctor. Guy's name was Dr. Robert Wadley. He's in Raleigh, North Carolina. He started doing high-tech drug tests in his office. And based on those tests, the drug tests accounted for 82% of his Medicare payments in 2012. 4 out of $5 that he got from Medicare for his clinic came from these expensive high-tech drug tests on senior citizens. And he made no effort to conceal it. Dr. Wadley said, quote, "Urine drug testing is how I pay the bills," end quote. Back in 2011, Dr. Wadley launched a new firm called Avutox, LLC, that routinely tested Medicare patient specimens for more than 36 separate drugs, with a bill for each drug separately. Avutox was paid on average $1,265 per Medicare patient, nearly double the average of 108 other labs. It was the 10th biggest recipient of Medicare drug test payments, $7.3 million, and Dr. Wadley received $1.4 million for drug tests on his own patients. Now, why is this happening? Well, once again, it's the law of unintended consequences. Prior to about 2010, Medicare would pay these doctors for simple drug tests. You know, like the little pee on a strip kind of drug tests. Now, you got to understand, in drug testing, there's usually two different levels. There's one level, a very cheap and simple test that can usually detect the metabolites of certain drugs. And then there's the more expensive test you give, the gas chromatography type of test that you give once you've failed the simple test. Then they say, okay, let's be sure, and let's do the more advanced test to corroborate what we found in the simple tests. But 4 years ago, Medicare started capping the payments on those simple tests. The doctors had been billing $20 for each test, like for meth or for benzos or whatever. Medicare capped the payment at $20 per specimen, and then put a $100 cap on the more complex test. Now, what happened then is once they put the cap on the simple drug tests, the doctors then scrapped doing any of the simple drug tests and started ordering the more advanced second-level drug tests because Medicare hadn't put any caps on those. The doctors switched to these because they had fewer billing restrictions, and mostly what we were talking about was the mass spectrometry, the gas chromatography and such. Medicare pays separately for each high-tech test. A cocaine test, they'll pay $21. A hydrocodone test like Vicodin or Lortab, they'll pay $29. For ecstasy, it'll pay $25, and so forth. Despite the fact that even if you count marijuana, only about 1 out of 1,000 seniors is going to test positive for it. 1 out of 1,000, and that's if you count pot. And the data on this are clear. 2007, 2008, and 2009, the simple drug tests, there were about twice as many of those as there were the high-tech tests. In 2010, when the law changed, it was even. The same number of high-tech tests to simple tests. By 2011, it was more than twice as many high-tech tests. By 2012, it's almost 4 times more high-tech tests. And again, their testing, it runs anywhere from $20 to $30, and Medicare would pay $172.89 for a test of ecstasy, benzos, opiates, amphetamines, PCP, hydrocodone, and cocaine. One major drug test biller, a doctor in Massachusetts, received $2.8 million in drug test reimbursements from Medicare in 2012, more than any single doctor. This waste must stop.
Hey, this is great, man.
Tommy Chong. Tommy Chong was recently booted off of Dancing with the Stars, but the day after, I got a note from his PR